and it's on theZman.com, and it's by Law Dog. Here we go. This post and its comments really hit me today. The most enervating aspect of the shutdown is the compulsory abstinence from physical affection. Yes, some of you have family who are skeptics, but my mom subsists on a steady diet of CNN and Facebook. So no hugs, period. Worse, my grandmother is totally quarantined in her nursing home. She can't even go outside. Moments before dying, renowned chessmaster Bobby Fischer said that nothing heals like the human touch. Now I understand what he meant. Many of those who are closer to death need physical affirmation that they valued. Let's try that again. Many of those closer to death need physical affirmation that they valued. Our vision fades. Our minds, perhaps just due to normal cognitive decline, will lose their quickness of comprehension. But a good hug with an "I love you, Grandma," will always be understood. Its emotional and cardiovascular benefits have been observed even in advanced dementia patients. Now, I would understand their having to forego physical affection if this virus were sufficiently severe. But judging from the perpetually declining projections, this seems like a situation where people should be able to take proper precautions to arrange a meeting with their parents or grandparents. My grandmother, who is in her late 80s, is worried she won't be able to hug my mother before age catches up with her. And when I'm in a low mood, and I often am these days, for hopefully obvious reasons, the first thing I want to do is visit my grandmother. Now, I can't, and I might not ever be able to again. This fiasco has intensified my depression, whereas before I was doing well. I didn't think that the whimsy of a few scandal mongers with MS Paint graphs could derail a nation. I figured that all I had to do was internalize a sense of well-being, socialize, and progress my career. Silly me! You have no career now. You also won't be seeing your friends, grandmother, or students until nobody ever dies of anything ever again. I really do hate these people. Although I don't advocate violence, they deserve death for what they've done. They're rapists of the soul, driving a wedge between our families, closing our churches, and I'm non-religious, wrenching us from our work. For what? A projected 60,000 deaths? I wonder, though, if the figure was 60,000 from the beginning, would we still be languishing in our homes? That's because of social distancing. Yeah? Wasn't Cuomo just throwing a fit on TV because of New Yorkers' recalcitrance toward plague safety rules? And did social distancing really lower the anticipated deaths by more than 1 million? That is retarded. This whole crisis is soaked to the bone in premium-grade vaginal stupidity. There is really no better word than retarded for the times we're living in. It's not enough to turn the frogs gay. We have to make them retarded, too. And now that everyone is retardedly gay and gaily retarded, we can all post kissy-face videos to YouTube during our normal working hours because we're all in this together. This is what our media is peddling. May they burn in, can't read that word, it's in some other language, because Christian hell is too good for them. David Wright writes, I feel you, brother. Whitney writes, the plague is not from God, but the response is satanic. We Are the Vikings writes, the wily Bill Gates is uncovering all kinds of ways to lessen the population. Chinese viruses he's funded. Then there's the tried and true vaccination route, which if nothing else screws up immune systems. Now he can add lack of touch to the list. Hell, he might even pick off a few babies too. They are especially vulnerable to a lack of touch and nurturing, and have been known to die from it. Gasman writes, Law Dog, I really do hate these people. Although I don't advocate violence, they deserve death for what they've done. That was quoting Law Dog. Very well articulated. And, except for not advocating violence, I agree with everything you wrote. My hatred for these people is with the passion of 1,000,000 white-hot suns. Law Dog replies, agreed. I don't advocate violence because it's a practical matter. They have the technology to quickly crush us. Indeed, that might be the best course of action for them. Screwtape writes, I've been driving a lot, searching for a new place to live. In the transit across the landscape, I have seen beauty and ugliness, separated in stark opposites of the masked and unmasked, distant and proximate. But there is a disturbing combination as well, a kind of utopian, brave new world emerging that bothers me in ways that I struggle to articulate. While the China virus has illuminated the already massive divide between normal people and the truly sick, there is an emergence of this new normal springing up like overnight dandelions in every aspect of our formerly normal social lives. This invasive creep of new customs and habits is a testament to our ability to adapt and to cling to our humanity during inhumane times. Yet it is also spooky how these adaptations to the dehumanizing authority are so easily accepted as any kind of normal. I drove by an old folks' home, a line of cars queued up in the drive aisle, cars full of families, some with balloons and signs and stuffed animals, windows open and hands waving. At the entrance of the building, hazmat staff were escorting old people toward the driveway, one at a time, where their loved ones slow rolled by in their cars and waved. Then back into the facility the old ones went, and the line of cars inched onward. The building next door, a VA facility, was shuttered, but for a drive-through testing encampment. White pop-up tents manned by 20 or so fully NBC'd people in their white suits. All sat empty. No takers for the tests. Half the germ army doing air squats in a kind of strange days CrossFit routine. Another mile to a park where 20 to 30 POCs were playing basketball like nothing at all has changed, except the few white guys usually around were nowhere to be found. Law Dog replies, Screwtape, I was just thinking the same thing this morning. It feels like things have been irreparably altered, yet some people are acting like it's been this way forever. To what kind of place are you looking to move? I'm going to skip toxic masculinity vectors post. Well, I guess not, because Law Dog replies. Toxic masculinity vector writes, Law dog. Ain't gonna say learn to code. I haven't yet. But get on the internets and learn something. Takes your mind off things. I'm going up for research/upcert in my field and doing its homework for months, years. Better than festering on the web all day. Hint, hint. Law dog replies, you're right, Toxic. I've already learned Spanish and Arabic, but practically speaking, these skills have helped me very little in the modern world. One got me a job that I didn't even like. Honestly, for me, I think that learning to code is my best option. The problem is that I'm cognitively weird. Most people, for example, are either good at both mathematical and verbal reasoning, or they're good at neither. Not the case with me. They actually made me retake the SAT because the gap between my verbal and mathematical scores was insane. They thought I was just a retarded person who found a way to cheat on the verbal. It's harder for me. I was on track to become a full teacher in a public school this September. All I had to do was finish my TA hours at the school of my future employment. The virus comes, and now who the hell knows what's going to happen to my job? Am I going to have to be a TA again because the whole world has gone dim Tardashian? My son is coming in September too, and it's going to be a struggle without that salary increase and benefits. I want to be a teacher because I'm a male who's good at sneaking dissident perspectives into lessons and leading debates. Honor classes only. Lower IQ 8th graders are atrocious at debating. All the other teachers, save one token gay guy, are women. All they teach about is Viceroy Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., Anne Frank, and racism. Go figure. When I was a kid, I suffered a lot under these woke female educators. The school psychiatrist pumped me full of amphetamine at the teacher's behest because I was rambunctious and called out a lot. Initially, my mom refused, but then they threatened to expel me if I wasn't treated. This sparked a struggle with chemical dependency that took years to shake. Even though it's just a middle-class job, I love it. And losing it to this bullshit sucks. Stranger in a Strange Land writes, however many upvotes this post receives, it should be times 1,000.